I never believed in ghosts until I saw one. Up close, staring back at me with empty, hollow eyes. And the worst part? It wasn't some old abandoned house. It was in my apartment, and it looked exactly like me. It started a few months ago when I began noticing small things out of place. My keys on the counter instead of the hook by the door, the TV remote on the coffee table instead of the couch. I brushed it off, thinking I was just being forgetful. Then one night, I came home late from work, exhausted. As I unlocked the door and stepped inside, I felt it. A chill in the air, like someone had just walked through me. I shook it off, dropped my bag, and headed to the bathroom. That's when I saw it. In the mirror, staring right behind me, was me. But it wasn't a reflection. This thing had the same clothes, the same face, but its eyes were wrong. Dark, empty, like staring into a void. It smiled at me. An unsettling, twisted grin that made my stomach churn. I spun around, but the bathroom was empty. My heart was pounding, my mind racing, but I tried to convince myself it was just fatigue, maybe a trick of the light. But as I backed out of the bathroom, I saw it again. This time, from the corner of my eye, standing at the end of the hallway. Oh, I didn't sleep that night. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I could feel it watching me. The next day, I was ready to chalk it up to stress, maybe even hallucinations. But then, the messages started. Texts from my number, sent to my own phone. I'm here. I'm watching. Why don't you look in the mirror? I smashed every mirror in my apartment after that, terrified of what I could see. I even moved, thinking I could escape it. But it followed me. It's always there, just out of sight, lingering in reflections, lurking in darkened windows. It mimics me perfectly, except for these eyes. These empty, hollow eyes. I don't know what it is, or why it chose me, but I cannot get away from it. And now, it's getting bolder. It doesn't just watch anymore. It speaks. It tells me things. Things I don't want to know. Things about my life, my future. Things that make me wonder if it's really a ghost or something far worse. Oh, and the scariest part? I'm starting to feel like it's not just watching me. It's waiting for something. Waiting for the moment when it won't just be in the mirror anymore. When it will step out and take my place. So I was staying at my friend's house, and I was thirsty during the night. And my friend was asleep. I went to the kitchen to grab some water. But when I was going upstairs, I saw my friend's mom locking the main door. I told my friend to wake up because I knew something was fishy. He said his mother was out of town. When we checked the main camera, we actually saw the door locking itself. Kids see things all the time. A guy with roots in his face is something we've heard a surprising amount this past few months. The first case that I remember was early in March. A family was having a barbecue by the nearby Coyote Creek. A kid, maybe 7, said that he heard some noises from the woods, so he asked his parents if he could go. Unfortunately, they said yes. And now we have a missing child case that's been called ever since. This case was similar, but it involved many kids at a playground, so we didn't take it all that seriously. My deputy Sandra and I took the call because we were near the playground, regardless. Arriving on the scene, the all-seeing presence of the trees met our souls. The air felt stale, the ground unkempt. It felt like something was trying to claw its way out of the ground, pleading for us to help it. The kids had been evacuated prior for safety reasons. We did not understand why. Because, there was nothing there. It was just an old playground. But a playground nonetheless. Stepping on the mulch, we felt it again. The separation of the earth beneath us. The ground breathing hard, warning us, craving us. The wind pounded against our faces, whistling past our ears. The old creaky swings stayed still as if nothing was acting on them. Then, pure silence. As if the earth stopped rotating, the world itself paused. Sandra and I looked at each other, saying a quick prayer. Our prayer was met with a pounding in our ears, a rattling in our bones, and a vibration within our souls. The world was fighting the prayer, battling against our good spirits and desire to be safe. The prayer, however, was lost. Sandra's ears erupted in a symphony of radio static that could be heard from the other side of town. His eyes became constantly static, flicking to and from the local news channel. Expect rain and watch out for the fog. It's coming in waves. Be careful out there and remember to lock your doors. Stay safe and good luck, Hansen. Then he collapsed in an orchestral mass of TV static, his last words arriving through his ears, his mouth closed. The ground molding and craving what was left of my partner, the wind picking up with a melody, a cacophony of radio hums, and TV static coming from the woods. The ever-present evergreens gleamed in the cloudy skies, ushering me closer to the tree line. I'm standing on the very edge of my life, in front of the gaping maw of the forest, the wind shoving me closer and closer to meeting my fate. The melody of otherworldly sounds and the screams radiating from the breeze place me in a trance. One step forward, then another. With my head down, the rustling leaves and the absorbance of the ground pushing me closer and closer to the floor. There they were, red rain boots. Looking up, I was met face to face with a boy missing his eyes, and a natural smile wrapped around his face, and a torn shirt that was patched with the crafted skins of animals. His arms wrapping around me, his bones crying, and his ligaments tearing as they approach. Unnaturally long, his fingers wrapped around my torso and pulled me into the malady. A man with no face, covered in roots, meeting me.